Borno State, during the peak of insurgency years, besides the displacement of people, experienced destructions of communities and farmlands which caused hunger and food insecurity in the state. 20 years later, with the restoration of peace in Borno under the leadership of Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, displaced persons were resettled and relocated to their ancestral homes. He did not just do that without humanitarian support and interventions to help inspire their resilience to build their livelihoods. Now, despite that, Governor Zulum still travels to every nook and cranny of the state to support the people with relief materials such as food and non-food items, cash, fabrics, among others. The humanitarian intervention in 2022 saw 60,803 returnees in Gambaru receive cash and food, while in Dikwa, 40,000 households received 120 million naira worth of food items. Mongono local government received 275 million naira worth of food, textiles, and other essentials, which were shared with 90,000 displaced families. The fifth palliative initiative in Gwange community saw 30 million naira and food commodities distributed to 6,000 beneficiaries. Kirawa, a border community in Goza local government, where 2,500 families were resettled, received 120 million naira and palliatives. Bama also received 400 million naira, food and textile fabrics for 90,000 vulnerable individuals and groups. The humanitarian activities reached Ngala with 255 million naira, food and textiles delivered to 70,000 indigenous people. The state government also supported victims of disasters such as the fire incident in the Monday market and Gwange, as well as floods.
This community was displaced about 7 years ago by the insurgents. It is a joy for us to witness the resettlement of this community. However, in this ancient town, we still have some certain missing infrastructure. And inshallah, very soon, we shall rehabilitate the primary school. We shall complete a renovation of the primary health care center. We shall construct the shopping complex on all other critical infrastructures that are meant to enhance the livelihood of the community shall be provided very soon.
And therefore, I want to assure you that this administration will continue to support the less privileged people that are residing both in the local government areas as well as in Metropolitan Council. And therefore, it is my singular honor and privilege to flag off the distribution of relief materials to 100,000 beneficiaries. Today we have started the distribution exercise here in Munakabich as part of our palliative measures to cushion the effect of subsidy removal. So that is the main reason why we are here. So far so good. We have 8,300 women who are benefiting from our non-food items. 5,000 cash and then a raffle. While about 5,000 heads of male and female households will be receiving rice as well as beans. They may use some part of the beans as seeds for their flattening purposes, while they will also use part of the beans for their cooking purposes. I want to commend the Nigerian Air Force, and the paramilitary, the civilian joint task force and hunters for impacting positively on the lives of our people by securing the environment. Borno is different from other states. The insurgency started here in 2009, and close to about 4 million people were displaced. Gradually, we are resettling back people to their community. Now we are left with nothing more than about 1 million IDPs. But we are still not okay. So we shall continue to provide palliatives in Borno State until when we completely resettle IDPs to their ancestral home and access to the agricultural land has been completely given to them. So far, so good. I want you to notice that in terms of palliatives, where there are IDP camps, we must provide them with palliatives. You can imagine the kind of arrangement that we did. In the year 2016 or 17, I used to come to Borno 4 times in a month, in a year, because they don't have access. As we are going forward, security situation is being improved. People are having access. So I reduce the numbers of our support to the community from 4 times per annum to 3 times per annum. This time around, we have reduced it to 2 times per annum. The next 1 year, I hope we shall just come once in a year. And I believe before the end of my tenure, everybody will be settled, or everybody should have access to his or her agricultural land, so that this program of distributing food and non-food items to the farmers, to the villagers, will be completely stopped. Mongono local government area is one of the local government areas in Borno State that was severely devastated by the insurgency. The population here is huge, and within the last 7 years, their access to the agricultural lands is limited. This has informed the decision of the Borno State government to provide palliatives to all those that are living inside Mongono town. Because Mongono town is hosting many local government areas, what you are witnessing here today is distribution of food and non-food items to the vulnerable population of this local government. So far, so good. About 55,000 women yesterday have benefited from our non-food item. Each woman received the sum of 5,000 naira and a raffle. Then today, we are distributing food items to about 40,000 heads of household. Each head of household will receive 25 kg bag of rice and 10 kg bag of beans, in continuation of our distribution of palliatives to the less privileged people in the state. I also want you to acknowledge that all these rights were given to the government of Borno State by the federal government under the Northeast Development Commission. And therefore, I want to use this opportunity to convey my deep appreciation to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to the Vice President, as well as the Northeast Development Commission. While the beans were procured by the government of Borno State, the wrappers were procured by Borno State government. The 5,000 naira is also given by the government of Borno State. In terms of agriculture, that is something that we are looking forward, because continuous dependent on food supply from government and non-governmental organizations is not sustainable. And therefore, Borno State government has been encouraging the community to cultivate their land. So right now, to the south of this town, we have established irrigation scheme. People have started irrigation. We have also provided a lot of agricultural inputs to the farmers so that they will cultivate their land. And the most important thing is that within the last 2 years, people were given access by the Nigerian army. People have cultivated their land. And then you can see yesterday I was in Kuka, from here to Kuka, all over the land areas were cultivated by the farmers. But this time around, this year, we experienced a lean season because of shortage in rainfall. More so, I want you to acknowledge that this area is a semi-arid, it's an arid zone, where rainfall is not more than 300 millimeters. Crops can hardly do without irrigation. So people normally used to cultivate their lands in the shores of the lecture, using irrigation. So we are here to supplement what they have so far harvested under the rainfall season. But many have cultivated their land, government will continue to open up irrigation facilities, will open up the net Chad basin, especially the South Chad irrigation scheme, so that people will cultivate their land. The only challenges that are facing is lack of funding. It's not easy. You have seen the quantum of people that have received our palliatives this morning and yesterday. It's not sustainable. It's beyond the control of the state government. It's not easy. But we have no option than to do so, because we want to strengthen the resilience of the community. Otherwise, some of them that don't have access to food and non-food items may join ISWAP and may join Boko Haram, because food insecurity is the worst form of insecurity. So the challenge is lack of funding. But so far so good. We receive support from the federal government of Nigeria. We receive support from the Northeast Development Commission. Customs service is also supporting us. So I think you have to categorically state that government of Borno State is receiving support from these agencies, including NEMA, and therefore we remain eternally grateful to all of them.
In 2023, 13,000 households that were affected by the Boko Haram crisis received food condiment, as well as 23,000 families in Baga town of Kukawa. The Borno State Governor was the first to respond to the humanitarian needs to cushion the hardships following the federal government's withdrawal of fuel subsidies. The governor flagged off the palliative distribution phase, where food and non-food intervention covered 400 resettlement houses in Mulai and 23,000 households in Baga of Kukawa local government. Other communities such as Mafoni Ward in Maiduguri Metropolis had 2,000 households beneficiaries and 2,000 residents of Fizan, while 73,200 households in Muna and Ngwam communities were reached. The governor later raised his food palliative initiative target to 2.4 million people during the launch of the new phase of palliative distribution, but close to 4 million people benefited.
Going by the mandate of SEMA, number one, we are supposed to mobilize resources and also mobilize partners and sectors that can render intervention to any incidences. And then thirdly, to also directly intervene. So the success is so far with the support from His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, who are able to coordinate all our activities by going around to all the 26 LGS out of 27 LGS across Borno State to go and see the condition and status of the IDPs in those areas, including the host communities. And at that, in our visit, we were able to assess their condition, evaluate their status, and also know to have a kind of need assessment. We were able to do that one. This one is one of the greatest achievements that I can say this administration was able to do, because it enabled us to have the clear insight of their condition, and also to enable the state government to know how to relocate them to the locations that they want in a dignified manner. Another achievement that I can say this administration, under the leadership of Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, SEMA made is our ability to render immediate response and intervention in most of the incidences that occur, especially the fire outbreak in Gomboru Market, the fire outbreak in Muna IDP camp, the fire outbreak in Mafa, and other incidences. We were able to instantly respond by assessing the situation and also giving them the rapid response intervention. Another achievement that I can say the agency was able to make in this administration is our ability to renovate our offices and also pre-position all the required equipments. We were able to rehabilitate our vehicles to enable us to intervene, and also we were able to renovate our offices. The next activities that I can say we were able to achieve is our ability to go around all our sectors and partners to enable them to know how to cooperate and how to collaborate with them. So these are the basic achievement. And the biggest achievement that I can say across the state that the SEMA was able to achieve is the ability of the state to distribute palliative across more than 430 households. And if we say a household, by going by the context of household, according to African definition and according to Nigerian context, a household comprised of not less than 9 population in a household. If the state government can be able to at least reach more than 430,000 households, automatically you can say that the state is able to at least reach more than 3 million people. So the state government was able to reach them with palliatives, giving them succor to their life as a result of withdrawal of fuel subsidy, and also as a result of high rate of inflation across the state or across the country, or rather I can say globally. So given that intervention, honestly, it has taken the state a long way by enabling the citizens to have a sense of belongingness in their livelihood activities. These are also one of the biggest achievements, because the federal government has supported the state with some palliative support. Then the state governor, Professor Babagana Omar Zulum, topped on that one and distributed this palliative across almost all the local governments in the state. The other intervention, actually, when I was appointed by His Excellency the Executive Governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Omar Zulum, he mandated me to find a way of finding a lasting solution to incidences. So more or less, we can say now SEMA is not a reactive agency, but rather it is a proactive agency that is trying to prevent all these incidences. So we were able to meet with all the sectors, with all the partners, and with all the coordinating bodies to see that we try to avoid any incident that can occur. Naturally, people were saying we have natural disasters and we have man-made disasters, but to us in SEMA, we believe there is no natural disaster, because even the natural disaster, it is a phenomenon. It is not a disaster, rather it is a phenomenon. So if nobody goes to that location, we cannot say that it is a disaster, but rather it is a phenomenon. So the state governor mandated us to try and find out a way of stopping most of these incidences, or even avoiding these incidences. In a simpler way, we can say SEMA now is more of a preventive than curative. Even during the rainy season, we went to all the river banks, trying to stop our children from swimming into the river to avoid drowning. And also, whenever there is an incident, we first of all respond to that incident and then gather the people and give them like a health education in order to avoid it, especially like the fire outbreak, especially like the flooding and other disasters that involve a lot of people. And right now I can tell you that we have started going around meeting all the stakeholders, like the Road Safety Commission, like the fire services, like NDLEA. We are trying to collaborate with them to avoid and reduce all the vices that have been caused as a result of maybe drug abuses and other use of illicit substances. So this also has taken us a long way by reducing the redundancy and also reducing, sensitizing the youth among us to try to avoid all these incidences. Well, actually, my basic intention is to see that I deliver what His Excellency the Executive Governor mandated me to do, that is trying to avoid any incidents. So we are more or less like now focusing mostly on educating the community to avoid all these incidences. And if we can be able to avoid most of these incidences, I'm very much sure the resources that usually we divert to responding to incidences can be diverted to, or can be taken, or can be channeled to other sectors that require, like education, like health, like road, like other things. So if we are able to avoid all these incidences, definitely the resources can be utilized appropriately. So my mission now is trying to avoid most of these incidences by educating the people, and also trying to make the community to take the ownership of almost all our responses, to see that at least we avoided all these calamities, to enable the state to divert the resources to another sector that required these resources, rather than trying to pool the resources in intervening incidences and other calamities. So far, we can say the major incidences that occurred are the incidences that occurred in Mafa, we can say, and that involved more than 1,403 households. And that one, it might surprise you, 1,403 could be could be a large figure, but actually it's not a large figure because they are in an IDP camp. And usually people that are living in an IDP camp, mostly they live only in a tent that maybe not more than a room or 2 rooms, so that is why. And also the fire outbreak that occurred in Muna IDP camp, which are cumulatively almost like about 2,300 plus, which also the beneficiaries benefited from palliatives like rice. A bag of rice was given to them, a bag of maize flour was given to them, and also mattresses was given to them, mat was given to them, vegetable oil was also given to them, condiments like Maggi was also given to them, and also other immediate responses were given to them. So the beneficiaries of most of our incidences in Borno State so far cumulatively in the past 3 to 4 months, I can say almost more than 5,000 people benefited from our responses. These are the major. But there are some other minor incidences that occurred, especially just about 2 weeks ago. Some of our IDP camps that are from the Hajj camp, they are on their way going back to Bama, and some of them also are on their way going back to Banki. Unfortunately, they had an RTA, that is road traffic accident, which involved 19 people in it. Immediately when we were called, we were able to send medical a kind of response, like taking care of their medical bill, and also trying to see that they were given food and other items while they were in the hospital. So these are just a segment or a component of most of our responses. And in fact, even last week, last week, our search and rescue mission got a distress call that there is a youth that was found just by the fence of a state specialist hospital. In fact, almost everybody was assumed that that youth died. But when we reached there, we were able to see that his pulse is still active. His heart is beating. So we took him to State Specialist Hospital. With collaboration with State Specialist Hospital, we settled all his bill, and now the boy is responding to treatment, and he's about to be discharged. And apart from that, we can tell you that most of the times, if there is any incidents, especially that involve 1 or 2 people, or maybe a household or so, we have already pre-positioned our resources to see that we respond directly to them. So cumulatively, if you can say the kind of response that we were able to give in the past 4 months of this second tenure, the beneficiaries are more than 5,000. That is in terms of response to incidences. But in terms of palliatives, that is as a result of withdrawal of fuel subsidy and as a result of high inflation, I can tell you that more than 430 households, and if you multiply 430 households by 9 at least approximately, we can tell you that more than 4 million people benefited from this palliative. The only additional information that I can add is trying to appeal to people that let them always start thinking of avoiding incidences, so that we cannot be wasting our resources on responding to an aftermath or mitigating to incidences. This is the major call. And secondly, the second call that I can call to people is, let us try and have a kind of community ownership to most of our responses, to enable us at least to see that not always folding our arms to wait for government to come to our intervention, trying to see that at least everybody intervene and we keep on cooperating, collaborating, and synergizing our response to include everybody, to carry everybody along, including the community and the community leadership.
Thank you for watching this episode of the program. Join us again next week.